About those things, he said. His concern was that of every government today on earth. How do you build a just and stable society here? And his answer was this: goodness was the essential quality needed to keep society together. People are not born good, they need to be taught goodness, rulers and ruled. But it was essential that the rulers were taught goodness, spiritual and intellectual, because if rulers rule with unjust harshness and severity, meting out punishments with regimentation, then people lose their faith in the law, they lose their respect for themselves, they have no sense of shame. But if people are taught goodness, then they have all those qualities, and they regulate themselves. Confucius' vision then was of a moral society bound together by mutual respect and trust. And though he was an aristocrat, it was an anti-authoritarian idea, because the ideology would rest with the scholars, not with the emperors, who themselves had to obey that golden mean. Otherwise they risked forfeiting the mandate of heaven, as even today's rulers of China have found out.
In the last few years, the rulers of China have revived some of the old Confucian traditions, at least in their outward form. Performance of these rituals ceased after the Communist Revolution. These are actors, and this ceremony in Confucius' hometown is for tourists. They're largely foreign Chinese tourists from Taiwan, Hong Kong and Singapore, rediscovering roots severed, temporarily it would now seem, in 1949. It's a vision of a splendid past which the rulers of China in our time attempted to do away with in the belief that new traditions could replace them. But just when we think we've shaken it off, the past has an uncanny habit of coming back to restate its old claims on our loyalties. The ancient Chinese believed that Earth, nature and the cosmos were part of a harmonious natural order, the Tao, or path. The search for the right path, Taoism, is the second great stream of Chinese thought, a natural mysticism to set beside the practical common sense of Confucius. Not an alternative, but the other half of a necessary balance in life. The pilgrim path up the sacred mountain Taishan is a symbol for that search for the Tao. It's been walked for thousands of years by Chinese people, rich and poor, from the first emperor to Chairman Mao. And today, tourists and pilgrims are coming again. For so long, Western culture has seen nature in terms of control and exploitation. But for the Chinese, it is the source of all harmony and balance. They thought it was our duty as human beings, through art, religion, or science, to understand the harmony, not to abuse it or needlessly to change it, but to go with the force of nature, the yin and yang, as they would say. The little Taoist temple on the top of Taishan, dedicated to the goddess of the mountain, was wrecked in the Cultural Revolution. It's now lived in again, not by actors, but by real Taoist monks and nuns who came back in 1985, committing themselves to the old way. In the end, said the Taoist sage Lao Tzu, all creatures return to their distinctive roots. That is called returning to one's destiny. These people are tourists from Taiwan. Their leader is a spirit medium well known on TV in Taipei. It's the kind of ceremony you can see in backstreet ancestor temples in the urban jungles of Singapore and Hong Kong. Now they're returning to commune again with the older ancestors. On the summit of Taishan, the pilgrims wait for the first glimpse of the dawn. It was up here that Chairman Mao proclaimed the East is red. But that was before his great leap forward turned the dawn yellow with pollution. The first emperor surveyed his kingdom from here as the sun rose and announced, "Now I've united the whole world." Confucius said simply, "Now I realize how small the world is." The Silk Route in the Gobi Desert, in the far west of China, the most inhospitable landscape in the world. Across this desert from the 2nd century AD came the ideas, goods and people which ushered in China's first international age. Till this time, Chinese civilization had developed in isolation, uniquely itself, neither wanting nor needing anything from the outside world.